Hey, good morning, you guys. Welcome back to the channel. This morning, we're going to be working on some warm-up faces once again. I'm going to do some expressions, some items that possibly could be used for a reference pack or some type of style guide or something that, you know, as illustrators and artists and character artists, sometimes that we're called upon to do. So this isn't for any particular project. This is just something that I wanted to sit down and do this morning. I am working on a long illustration that I have been working on for about a week. And once I get that all finished, I'll box it up and post it to YouTube. But this is my daily warm-up, so enjoy the process. Okay, so this morning, where's my pencil? I literally just sat down. Oh, okay, I put it right here. My apologies. So today I'm working with the Col Erase pencil, and I'm working on Bristol board. I like Bristol board a lot because it's very smooth, and for some reason as an artist, I just love the way Bristol board feels. I love it. Some of you guys that are artists know that it does take a particular feel for a sketchbook to work for you. That being said, Bristol board is definitely, I had to go over and get my other glasses because I couldn't see. Okay, so now I can see. So Bristol board is just really good because it's really smooth. It's got a nice tooth to it. It doesn't grab or anything like that. So no particular type of creature, just maybe an ogre, or once I get the first one down, then I'll use that one as a basis for the rest of them. His mouth is gonna be really wide open. It's gonna be like, roar. That's the artistic term for it. Roar. Holy crap, what is that? Oh my gosh, I have a dilemma. Sorry about that, guys and gals. I had one of my containers that holds pencils, because I was moving around like this. Okay, caused it to move and then fall over. And there was a possible massive mess that was gonna happen. So I had to basically stop it. Okay, so as I'm doing this piece, I'm coming to you guys from, I live in the mountains of North Georgia. We're talking extreme north, way north, like 5 miles from North Carolina, north. And we're going through a season change right now, which is really cool because it's been really hot. But with a season change, I have seasonal allergies. And I don't typically have a problem in the summertime or the springtime. Typically the only time that I have really issues is the winter. Because up here during the wintertime is when ferns start doing their thing, right? They're called chenopodis. That's what ferns are, chenopodis. And I've been dealing with post-nasal drip, and that sounds horrible. Post-nasal drip. So if you hear me do that, it's because if I don't, I will choke. So my apologies for the nasty sounds that I make. As I look through the videos and stuff, I notice, you know, I've been doing that for quite a while. And I did go to the doctor, and of course they're like, you take antihistamine, you need to do this. You have rhinosinusitis and all this other, you know, technical terminologies. So, you know, I did all that. Of course, what happened is my body doesn't like antihistamines. It makes me crazy. So I don't know what it does. It dehydrates you, it adjusts your water. It does something to you, and my body was just not having it. So I've kind of relegated to just working through it the best that I can. All right. Character art, character designs, shape language, you know, creating these images that are fun and attractive and things that we like. And, you know, I'm of course a teacher, and I'm always trying to encourage my students to really get out of their box and kind of investigate and ask why, and, you know, all of these things. And I definitely have an encouraging spirit to the way that I teach, you know. I never want to be discouraging, but also don't want to lie. I don't want to lie to students, right? So I have to use my language very carefully when it comes to where they are at that particular point in time, because, you know, people want honest answers. They don't want you to lie to them. When I was in college, I watched people, you know, some students get lied to as far as their capability, and then there was no encouragement there. So that's not the way to do it. You obviously want to be truthful, but you also want to be encouraging. And that's pretty much where I lie. I want to be truthful, but also really encouraging. Because drawing is a skill, you know, it takes a lot of time, and getting a quick fix is not something I'm interested in. Okay, excuse me. So that's where this guy is. We're going to give him a little goatee. A little soul patch down the center to kind of accentuate that line. You know, that line here goes here, and then I have that line here, and I want it to come out here. So that's what this little guy is for, to kind of accentuate that. Okay, now I'm going to come to the second one. So this is a very good example of shape language, for one, but also how gravity needs to be affecting your drawing in some way, right? So this character is kind of leaning over, and he's got his eyes that are looking up. He's got a small brain, right? Small brain, smaller head, larger chin area, very thick neck. So these visual cues will help you define the character of your piece. Now, he's obviously not going to be a scientist. He's not going to be an explorer. He's not going to be, you know, a school teacher. He's not going to be any of those things. Based upon his shape language and where things are located, he's going to be a brute. He's going to be strong. He's going to have muscles. He's going to use his girth and his weight and his might to get things done. And of course, the way I've got his eyes posed, he's going to have a temper. So, you know, these are the things that we have to remember as illustrators, artists, character designers that are really important whenever it comes to design a character, because you just can't design something because you like it. That's not the way it goes. It needs to make sense. You need to constantly be asking yourself, does this character make sense for what I'm doing? So he's going to be, his head's going to be over here, so his ear's going to be up, possibly hidden on this side. Ear's going to be over here. His neck's really big, so it's going to come around, right? And you're not going to see the bottom, maybe his epiglottis right here. So I want his eyes. I'll start on his eyes first. So here's his eye line right here. So then I'll have that nose come up and down. And I'll have that come here. Now, I'm referencing this because here, his eyes, this brow's pushed down, right? What that does is it compresses his nose and flattens it out. So his nose goes left, right whenever that happens, right? Here, and this goes up, which brings his ear up. This cheek comes up. So here's his cheekbone that comes like this. Right, kind of covers his ear a little bit. So we come over here, and now this one, his mouth is kind of closed, but he's kind of grinning and grimacing at the same time. So I'm going to have it come up, and this one's kind of raised just slightly. He's like, I swear if you say another word, I will flatten you. Right? So that's kind of the phrase that I have in my brain that I'm working through. And his teeth are going to be grit. He's got like grit. And that's kind of folded up just slightly. Right? I get that up here. Right? Again, I got these eyes. He's got his, come here, up, over. Maybe this one's kind of tilted down just slightly. Right? And his lid comes here, all the way down here. Yeah. Okay. He's got his little things that are going like that, and he's got this cheekbone that comes here, over, and here's his ear right here. Ear's gonna come up, maybe break that plane slightly. Reference this ear over here, right? It's got that shape, that S shape comes around, right? Again, we'll come up, we'll have that cheekbone high, like that. We'll have that come down, and that shape will come around. And I want gravity to be pulling on it, so I'm going to have the bottom of his chin all the way down here, right? So this comes here. Yeah, here we go. So here, like that. Comes up. This comes up, down, over. Right? This comes here, like that. I'm going to draw in that nostril a little bit more like this. And that's pointed, since that's pointed right there. He's got that brow like this. And then I'm going to put a little divot right there. He's got some baggage that comes down. And his eyes like this. Give a little bit of indication, because I want that line right here to be really strong. So I'm just going to bring this around like that. Sorry about that. Sorry, guys. I'm snotting and snorting because I can't breathe. It's always worse in the morning. I've tried a couple things. If you guys have any suggestions, goodness gracious, I would. I've tried neti pots. I've tried nasal washes. I've tried so many different types of medication. And typically the medications are the one that make me crazy. And crazy meaning it's emotional. They do weird things to my brain, and I'm not really into having that. And it makes me tired. One of medicine didn't allow me to sleep. Yeah, I think that was the one with pseudoephedrine. Pseudoephedrine is great if you have like a stuffy nose, but whenever you have postnasal drip down the back of your throat, it's just horrid. Okay. So we're going to get his teeth. Rawr. He's like, I will flatten your face. Say it to me again. I recently watched the new Aladdin movie, and I didn't want to see it. I originally did not want to see it because I'll be honest with you. I know why Disney's doing the whole, we're going to, you know, people say it looks real. Look, the new real Aladdin. It's all CGI or a very large portion of it. You know, like Jungle Book and some of those other ones, Lion King. I skip Lion King. And I typically support, you know, doing that. I've seen those movies already, and I like the originals. I'm just not interested, you know. Okay, so that's this guy. I gotta draw his little, I don't know what these were called, could be called. It's not hair. Maybe it is. Maybe his hair comes around like that, right? Maybe his hair comes around. It's just like this, and then it comes like this, this. Here's that center eye line. I've got to bring this down, right? So it makes sense. There's that eye that comes up, right? Got his lid. All right, so now we'll do a little shadow action here. Sorry about that. All right, so then I'll do a smaller one down here. Let's peel this off. Okay, let's do a new page. These are fun. I'll probably end up inking one of them. Ooh, that's a surprise. Look at all the fun stuff I have under here. Ooh, he's kind of scary. Ooh, I like that. Obviously, this is from a previous drawing session. So I think this is hide. I did hide, or is this? No, yeah, this is hide. When I did hide. So let's not get rid of that. Let's put him up here as visual reference. Somewhere. I don't know how I'm gonna do that. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Okay. Fresh paper. Oh. Okay, so now we'll go a different feel here. Circle. Now, I always like to equate certain shape language and using gravity to like a sock full of sand. So how would that sock full of sand feel if maybe I'm grabbing it up here, right? And I'm swinging it, right? It kind of looks like a sack. You know, there's a great practice that you can utilize. It's called the flour sack. They use it in animation for tests to learn how weight and motion, gravity works. So, you know, utilizing that practice, you know, the flour sack. In college, instead of doing a flour sack exercise, I did a tea bag. And it was really cool because I could use that string. So if I remember correctly, my tea bag, I had like this, and then, right, I had the little legs that came down like this. And I'm always thinking about the majority of the material is down here. So whenever you get up here, you can maybe have a little crease, and then you have, right, here's his little hands. And maybe you had, you know, that flap that comes down right here, and the string was down there. You know, he would start out like this, right? And here's his other little leg. And then you would move him. You know, maybe one pose would be like, ta-da! And he'd be up like this, and it'd be real exaggerated and stretched, you know, like this. Da! He'd still have a little bit of a weight down there. And then I would have that cord that would be flying up in the air like this. And then maybe the next frame, I would have him, you know, pushed down. You know, but he's stretched like this. Yeah, I got a little thing up here. It comes like this. And it goes like this. So I'm always thinking in terms of weight. Thus, this. Right? So this needs to come forward a little bit because I'm going to have his head pushed forward a little bit because he's going to be looking, you know, this straight ahead. Excuse me. So I've got his, comes down, right? I'm looking at my pose over on the left-hand side for visual reference, right? And his mouth's going to be trailing off this distance. Remember, the weight is going to be positioned. Here's his cheekbone. Here's the top of his head. So his eye line's going to be like right up here. Here's his cheek. And this goes in. And then you have this weight, this mass weight of his chin. It's kind of, it swings. He's like, huh? Like that. Excuse me. So then he's going to be surprised. Sharp my pencil. A little too sharp. You ever get that? You're like, oh, this pencil's just too sharp. And I don't like the lines it forms. I like some, so what I do is I go over here to the right-hand side. I've got a little space over here on the right-hand side, if you guys can see that. Okay. So he's going to be surprised. So again, I'm just, I mean, basic shapes, you know? Basic shapes. I want to get that gesture in first. And then I can go back and I can correct a little bit of the things, you know, the anatomy. His head comes here, and then it comes here to his neck. And then I've got his cheek here. Maybe his eye comes out a little, just a little bit more like this, right? Okay, his eyebrows are up here, and he's kind of surprised, right? I've got his nose, comes like that, right? Comes up, around. Okay, this comes up because the top of his lip is raised just a little bit. So I'm going to have that curve here, and it's going to come down right here, and it's going to come down even more here. So then this comes around, and instead of coming up like this, like I'm going to have it come down like it's really wide. Here's that eye line that comes down. So here's the center of his bottom lip. So this is where I start my curve, right? Here. Here's the bottom. It comes here. And then literally the bottom of his here, here, here. Here's that outside cheek. So it's all just like that. Okay, here. Here's the his tongue, here's his teeth, and it wraps around, so I'm not going to see most of them. And then this comes around like this, so I can put one there, maybe a little one back there, and the tongue covers up some of that one. Here, 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 and that one curves too. Okay, so now we come up here, we want those little right, and then we've got his ear. Ear comes up over his cheek, and here's where the start of his ear is, like right here, and that line comes here. Maybe it's a little pointed. Maybe I change that one. Okay, got a little hair that comes like this. Okay. Comes like that. He's got some dark shapes around his eyes here. A little bit of shading on the bottom. Right, and then I've got these creases that happens whenever his mouth gets formed, and he's just, off the chain, like That's what I'm getting from this right now. And then I got that, comes around, it curves, right? You got some hair, it comes like this, and his hair is like that. Okay, comes up. Yeah, just having a little bit of fun on this Friday morning. I got a ton of stuff to do today, but like I always tell the students, I got 30 minutes, I got 20 minutes, I got 15 minutes, I got 5 minutes. You got a little bit of time to sew back into yourself, to do something small. Maybe I give him a little freckle right here. He needs a little freckle, right? Hair comes around, and this whole shape, it goes like this, then it comes like that. So those opposing lines create a lot of dynamicism. So this line goes here, and this line goes there. Literally, I'm always just trying to, think of those things because it creates rhythm and flow. Okay, so we'll do the last one. Okay. So again, this is where we came from. This is where we are. So I can see I gave him a little bit of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back and I'm going to do this. Because his eyes are wide open, so you're not going to see as much of this. So maybe I color that in. But it still needs to be there, right? And two, before, if you look, whenever this is squashed, his nose gets shorter, right? All this comes down, it presses on this. But whenever he's opened like this, it elongates this shape right here. So remember we talked about this whole situation where it's squashed and then you stretch it. I mean, you could even go so far as to do this, right? And you could curve that hand over. He's like, dun, da, da. And then this one is like, da, right? This one is stretch, that line of action. Boom, like that. Okay, so we'll do the final one here, and then we'll call it a day. Okay, so let's do, okay, so we'll do this final one. Again, I've established the shape language that I'm using. So he's a brute, right? He's a brute of some sorts. So I'll do this. Like that. Nose. So already I feel it. I've got that line of action in, right? That comes here, and I've got this huge mass that at his mouth, because I'm thinking material inside of a sock, how's it going to swing, right? How's that chin going to swing? So now it's kind of, that nose is like this, here, right? That eye, here's the bridge. Man, I'm gonna even go further, right? So maybe this eye comes up, comes around. Like this. So look at this. See what I'm doing? I'm creating that emotional, you know, that facial pose that really reads. It's a quick read. It's like kind of smiling a little bit. So this line, this bottom line comes here, and then it goes over, and it directs me where that other cheek is right here. And here's the start and corner of the mouth. So it's all, it's like a, it's all connected. And that's why whenever you draw, I really don't like, and it's not beneficial for students and artists in general to just sit there and do this, where you can get such more dynamic, you know, poses. Now everybody draws different. I'm not going to sit here and criticize you. You know, you're a professional. You've been doing it for, you know, 30, 40 years. That's not my concern. It's for those people that, you know, that are starting out or maybe struggling. You want to draw with your whole arm. It gives you such a much more dynamic way of doing things. So here's the line, comes here. Here's basically, I'm gonna come down. So I want it down. So I want it down a little bit here, like that. And again, it comes up and around. Here's that little thing near your nose, where your cheek is right here. And since this is down, it's not going to squash this fatty area. This is down. I'm not going to draw this line up like this. I'm going to draw this down, okay? This line down. So it's going to come like this. And then it's going to connect over here. See, these things are connected. Since this is going up, it squishes everything here. His eye is squished. It's going to come up, right? Here. So we'll come here. Down. Okay. Here. Here's the center of his head, comes up, over. Okay. Here. And again, since this is being pulled up, it's pulling this line up, so it's not going to be squashed like this is squashed and this is squashed, because these are pushing down here, but this is pulling up. Okay, here, 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 here. Okay. That whole shape here. And then you have that coming down. And again, here's that eye line here. Comes right to the ear, top of the ear. I've got my S shape right here for my ear. Kind of runs into my other drawing, unfortunately. And then I've got my neck here that is defined down here. Here, right? So then I've got maybe a brow that comes like this, because this is pushing. This goes up, this is pushing down. Okay, so I've got a little crease here, and this is smiling. Right? So we're gonna come here, that plane comes here, maybe I have a crack here, Okay. All right, I think that's pretty much what I wanted to show you guys today. A little bit of squash and stretch, a little bit of exaggeration, a little bit of push into pose to help you guys with your drawings. I'm gonna put you guys on time lapse because I'm probably gonna ink the first drawing I did because I really like it. So, you know, and then, you know, things like little things I missed, like the little soul patch that I did. So I'll put that on here. Right, we'll color that in. But I think I'm going to ink that one. I'll put you guys on time lapse. And then afterwards, I'll do a really short wrap up for you guys. So. Okay, so I've got you guys on time lapse now. Since I'm doing this on my phone and editing on my phone, I've run into a couple little issues. One, obviously, my big fat head that keeps coming into the frame and then losing focus. So I need to adjust that on the next video. Apologize for that. As I ink, I lean forward and I want to get a little bit over the drawing, and it upsets the camera a little bit. Second of all, whenever I'm editing on my phone, I can't add music at a certain place I want to. I'm not really sure why. Possibly it has to do with maybe setting a marker. I really don't know, but I went to go ahead and export this so I could upload it to YouTube, and lo and behold, I hadn't done the time lapse or any of the items that I wanted to do. So that being said, I'm inking, of course, using the Pigma marker. That's kind of my go-to lately. I get a lot of my writing utensils from the local art store. Local. There's nothing local around here, so it's about an hour and a half away. I have to go all the way to, Timbuktu to be able to buy art supplies, unless, of course, I order them, which I've done before. There's a great resource for, brush pens, and you can get different brush pen packs called Jet Pens. I've ordered from them a couple times. They're really good, inexpensive, and they're pretty quick to ship, and I've never had to send anything back because obviously, I'm addicted to art supplies, so I've got a ton of crap that I use, and then a ton of crap that I don't use. I've kind of discovered it's kind of one of those things, you order a bunch of stuff and then you start really realizing that you've got a ton of stuff and you don't need to order stuff anymore. So you see that I'm obviously getting my head in the way. Again, I apologize for that. I'll correct that on the next video. But trying to get a little variation of line weight in my drawing. I've stated this before, not trying to really get in there or render anything, but I want to do a good job. So I'm doing variation of line weight, thick and thin, to show a little bit of form. And eventually, I'll put in a little bit of value with my gray marker. Another thing that I've noticed is the Pigma ink reacts a certain way with the alcohol-based marker, so just be aware of that. I like it. I like the fact that it kind of smudges it a little bit and it, brings out more value. The harder I push or the longer I expose the marker to the brush pen stroke. But obviously, see, my head's getting in the way. Big fat head. So obviously, you're going to have to think about that if you decide to throw some value in there. Didn't do any color on this one today, just because, again, I'm doing digital sculpting today pretty much all day. And I didn't want to get in there and start getting addicted to the drawing and not, put my best foot forward if I was in a rush or in a hurry. Anyway, so that's pretty much what I'm going to do here in just a second. I'll be putting in some value with my big fat gray marker. I don't know, I can't remember who makes that marker. It's right there in my right hand. Might be Winsor & Newton. And they have different colors, and I've got a few different colors, and I really like it. And it lasts a long time, and it's just really good to put in value as my fat head gets in the way again. Sorry about that. All my curly curls. Yeah, so that being said, I think today, over the weekend, I'm going to try to do another drawing, but it'll probably be on the iPad just because I want these drawings to kind of go through the week, and then maybe on the weekend, you can look at my big fat head again, and you could, gosh, I can't believe I let that happen. I am so sorry, guys. I am so sorry. Please forgive me. Anyway, I'm going to come back in and talk a little bit about the process. So thanks. Okay, that's the wrap up. I just did ink and really simple value on this particular character. These are the facial studies for today. Hopefully you guys got something today whenever it comes to your drawing practices. Understanding squash and stretch, rhythm and flow, creating characters that have a base in the real world, even though, dude, if I saw this in the real world, I think that would be a little weird. But you kind of understand what I'm trying to say. Skulls and proportion and weight and where stuff is and understanding shape language. All these things are part of the character designer tool belt. The more you do, the better you'll get. I think that if you're really interested in doing this, what'll happen to you is you'll get a fire, right? A fire that'll be unquenchable, and you'll just want to keep learning and getting into the whole process. And gosh, there's so many different ways to be successful in the art world these days. It's a shame if you're struggling because you don't have the quote-unquote education and you think you need to go to college to do it. I think that a lot of it has to do with self-motivation. So be self-motivated, get out there, draw something beautiful, create art, and like and subscribe if you like what you see, share. And as always, we'll see you soon. Thank you, guys. Bye.